The workhouse howl. If there continues to be a lack of active participation in pursuing justice, dignity, and compassion for everyone in this country, a large portion of our society may one day, in one form or another, resemble those who suffered in the workhouses of East London during the Victorian age. The workhouse howl is an eerie cry of suffering, cries born from grief, separation, humiliation, and abandonment. Families torn apart because they lacked money, opportunity, and education. And I wonder, how do human beings become so hardened that the suffering of others becomes acceptable? Because this is not merely about poverty alone. This is about what happens when societies begin treating people as burdens instead of people created with dignity and worth. History warns us that cruelty rarely begins with violence alone. It begins slowly with indifference, with fear and division, with policies people assume will only affect someone else. And that's the danger before us now. Because whenever systems begin shifting power in ways that silence voices, reduce representation, manipulate districts, or make struggling people easier to ignore, we need to start paying attention. Some believe harm will only fall upon the Black communities, the brown communities, the immigrants, or the poor. But history shows that when societies normalize inequality, instability spreads outward and touches everybody. The workhouse howl didn't begin as a national scream. It began quietly with the vulnerable. And by the time many recognized the damage, entire generations had been swallowed by systems lacking compassion. The Bible says there is no fear in love because perfect love drives out fear. And I believe fear sits beneath much of humanity's cruelty. Because when fear governs societies long enough, people stop seeing each other clearly. They begin believing some lives matter less, some suffering matters less, some communities deserve less. And for those who say they follow Jesus, remember this: he consistently moved toward suffering, not away from it, toward the widow, the poor, the prisoner, the stranger, and the brokenhearted. And perhaps that is why the phrase workhouse howl still matters today. Because if we're not careful, the howl returns. Not only in prisons, not only on city streets, not only among marginalized communities. Eventually, it reaches exhausted workers, struggling families, elderly citizens, children, entire communities overwhelmed by systems that slowly forgot human dignity. And this is why believers cannot afford a silence rooted in comfort. So here's what I'm saying. When you finish praying, pay attention. Vote thoughtfully, protect truth, and defend human dignity before suffering becomes normalized. Because if we continue to hear the cries of others, let me say that again. If we continue to refuse to hear the cry of others, one day, no one's going to hear ours. And I will leave it there.